everyone, and welcome to another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with me, Chase Lee, and my co-host,
Brian Sudfield.
That's fucking right. And hey, listen, we haven't recorded on a Saturday in God knows how long, so we actually get to record the title of the show where we get to do it live on a Saturday. It's weird, I know, but listen, we're all busy, so just cut some slack. But welcome to the show if you're new. Basically what we do is we will take the movies coming out on Friday, and we'll take a director, actor, genre, what have you, and we'll make a top 5 list according to that. And the cool thing is, this is live, so we have no idea what's going to happen. And I don't know, Brian's listening, he doesn't know my list. And Brian, before we introduce our guests, what are we doing this week?
We're honoring Quentin Tarantino in honor of the Hateful Eight.
That's right. See, Brian's got his cool, Fonzie jacket on over there, so he's already got like the cool Tarantino vibe going. So, it's Quentin Tarantino with Hateful Eight, and it's gonna be great. But hey, we're not alone. So it's really funny, like when we ask people to come on, because they're just like, what is this bullshit? And then we kind of pressure them, and then like they just eventually give up, and they're just like, okay, fine, but just don't tell people about this, because everyone's embarrassed to come on here. I get it. It's an awful show. But we're joined by Ashley, and she is actually one of 2 people that have a radio show called The Cinema Twins, and they talk about movies and stuff just like we do, and it's cool because they're both females, and the female perspective is way better than our perspective. So, Ashley, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm not embarrassed to be here. I'm super excited.
She's actually lying, and she doesn't want to tell the truth. No, we're joking. Tell the people out there a little bit about yourself, you and what you and your sister do.
Well, my name is Ashley, and my sister's name is Brady, and we have a radio show at Georgia College, and it goes on every Friday from 11 to 12, but we're on a hiatus right now because we're on break for school and whatnot, so we can't really do it when the school isn't open. But and we just basically talk about movies. We do sections like movies you might have missed, the stuff that we saw that week. What else do we have? And then we have director spotlights sometimes whenever we don't see anything that week, because we're broke college kids and we can't really go see all the movies that come out. But yeah, that's just basically what we do, and we're just the Cinema Twins.
That's really cool. You know that you are legit when you have a radio show. Me and Brian are not legit. We're still on shitty YouTube. Like we're never gonna expand. We're always just gonna stay in the dark depths of YouTube. Thank you for coming on, and I'll go ahead and start with you then. Ashley, like when you hear Quentin Tarantino, like what do you think of? Like what's like the one thing you think of? Like why is he so popular, and why is he actually getting more popular than he ever has been?
Well, really, I think that it's the dialogue that he can create. It's so unique, and you don't see it in any other movies. Like, if you walk into any Quentin Tarantino movie without knowing that it's Quentin Tarantino, you're going to be like, wait, this is familiar, but also it feels new every time he does it. It's fantastic, and I think that another reason that he's becoming so, like, more mainstream every time is because, like, our generation, like, younger kids going out to see movies, like, it's like there's so much crap there right now that, like, when there's something special, like what Tarantino does, it's different. Everybody wants to see it. Just like I saw The Hateful Eight recently in 70 millimeter, and it was a full theater. It was a full theater, and I was so happy. I was, like, afraid that nobody was going to be there.
No, I'm totally with you. I was telling Brian this last week. Like, I saw it 2 days after Christmas, and it was a packed house. And it's like a 3-hour long, a different format than what most people are not used to. And it's like people just love Tarantino because, like, it was the same way when I saw Inglourious Basterds. It was the very first Tarantino movie I saw in theaters, and it was packed. And I was like, wow, I guess he's getting up there with mainstream. And then right when Django came out, that's when he exploded into the mainstream, because that movie is the most profitable movie that he's ever done. And so I remember when I saw Django, like, it was a packed house once again, and it's like, wow, this is great. Like, he's just getting better and better, and then his friend Robert Rodriguez is not getting better and better. Brian, like, when you think of Tarantino, like, what do you think of?
Mainly the violence, the gore, the blood.
Yeah.
The writing obviously is a big factor to his films, but the violence is always something you're excited to see whenever you go see a Tarantino film. And it was so, like, this is a minor spoiler, it was kind of toned down in The Hateful Eight, but when it was there, it hit, and it was perfect. Everyone was so proud. It was crazy. It was awesome. And like you guys, I saw the day after Christmas, and it was full. I was very – well, I went to the city to see it, and it was packed. I was worried I wasn't going to get a seat. I was almost late to the movie because we had some trouble getting there, and it was awesome seeing it in 70 millimeter and just with the big crowd. It was fun. It was the best theater experience I had last year in 2015.
Oh, for sure. Like, hands down. Like, I there's no spoilers here, but they both would know what I'm talking about. At the end of the first half, right before we get to the intermission, it is one of the biggest, coolest build-ups ever to a character. And once it happens and it goes to intermission, you're sitting there in shock. I remember when it happened, and I was looking around, and everyone was so confused. They were just like, what? Did that just happen? Did you see that down there, sir? Like, I remember, like, everyone went straight to the bathroom and stuff, and all the guys that were in there, because I could hear everyone. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, did you just see that? This second half's gonna be crazy." It was great. I don't think I've ever experienced anything like that before. But yeah, Tarantino, he's one of the best. And the cool thing about his movies, all of them are good. So how in the hell do you make a top 5 list? Well, that's easy. We fucking made one, and I guess we'll find out. So, yeah, we'll do 5 through 1, and then afterwards we'll do honorable mentions and ones we dislike. But I don't have any disliked ones, so there you go. Spoiler alert. So, Ashley, we'll go ahead and start with you since you are a guest. What is your number 5 favorite Quentin Tarantino film of all time?
Okay, of all time, my number 5 is Inglourious Basterds.
Okay.
And I adore this movie. I fall more on the side of liking his stuff like Inglourious Basterds and Django Unchained than I do things like Kill Bill, just because that's just more my style. I like I guess Inglourious Basterds isn't really one of the smaller stories, but I like more contained stories.
Yeah.
And it introduced us to Christoph Waltz, who I love, and he was just so magnetic in that movie and horrifying, but like at the same time you love him. You love to watch him be bad, which I think is great, and it has intense scenes that make you laugh. And only Tarantino can do that the way he does it, which is like you're on the edge of your seat and then you're laughing at the same time, but like almost uncomfortable. Like it's so great. I love Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah, it's so good. But I'm not gonna talk about it. I'll get to that in just a second. So, Brian, what is your number 5?
My number 5 is also Inglourious Basterds.
What the hell? You guys you guys are teaming up against me. That's what's going on. All right. Brian, go ahead and say your plea for this one.
Well, she basically said everything I had to say, but also Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt. He's killing Nazis.
Yeah.
So
And we get Michael Fassbender here in probably the first movie I ever saw him in, which is pretty cool. And Eli Roth did a good job in the movie too. So like you said basically everything that – well, I mean, when I first saw it, I didn't like it that much. And that's the thing with most of his films. When I first see him, I'm like, it was okay. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. But then I saw it again, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this movie is something special. It's fantastic, and it's not a movie for everyone. Listen, like, just to clarify, Tarantino is not for everybody. He's not. There are a lot of people I know who don't like Tarantino's style. They're like, I understand why people like him, but it's just not my kind of style. And I'm like, I understand that. But still, like, Inglourious Basterds is one hell of a good film, and if you've not seen it, please check it out. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll get to it in just a minute. So my number 5, I gotta go with this first one. I gotta go Reservoir Dogs, and like the only reason why is, I know people are just so shocked. They're like, why is it so fucking low on your list? Hey, listen, I was born in 1990, and Reservoir Dogs came out in 92 or something like that, and Pulp Fiction was like right afterwards. I was too young to see them. I didn't see any of his movies until I was a teenager, so Reservoir Dogs was one of the last ones I saw. So calm down. So it's okay. Everyone, just chill. I like it a lot, and it's got one of the best openings to a Tarantino movie. I love when they're all sitting around in the diner and stuff. We're just getting to know everyone, and then it just ends up in a claustrophobic, bloody mess, exactly like The Hateful Eight. So Reservoir Dogs, it's good, but it's not my favorite one. And that's the thing. Tarantino makes great films, but this list is going to be like, which one's going to be your favorite type of deal. So yeah, Reservoir Dogs for sure. Does anyone want to comment or skip over it? Because the way Ashley like threw up her hands, I'm assuming that she's like extremely mad at me, and she's like, "Why is it so low?"
A little bit. I love Reservoir Dogs because, like I was saying, like I like the contained stuff. Like it just the way he tells that story is great. But I'll get to it, obviously.
Yeah, she if you play it back, just watch her reaction. She's like, "What the fuck is this? Who is this guy?" Like she's so angry right now. She doesn't want to continue. She wants to go away. So, no, I'm just kidding. Ashley, you're up next. So, what is your number 4?
Okay, so I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by my number 4 because my number 4 is Pulp Fiction.
Interesting.
Which I understand why everybody's like, oh, it's his best movie. But personally, when the first time I saw it, I did not like it at all up until the very last scene. And in the last scene, everything came together for me, and I was like, oh, this is what everybody's talking about with just everything. Everything about that movie I love now. Mm-hmm. But the fact that it took me a little bit, and just the dialogue is great, but honestly, I don't think the story is better than some of his other ones, honestly. The filmmaking I understand, and the nonlinear story is great, but personally, I just like some of the other stories that he's told better than Pulp Fiction. But Pulp Fiction's obviously amazing and great, and I'm sure it's going to be on you guys' list, so...
we'll see. Well, let's calm down, everyone. So, I don't need the. Well, since it's not on my list, since I just gave it away. Listen, Pulp Fiction's great. I like it. It's very entertaining and stuff. But like I said, I don't know what it is with me. I'm more into like the new wave of Tarantino more than his old stuff. It just, I don't know. There's just something about his newer stuff. But Pulp Fiction is a classic. I mean, there's a reason why it was up for that many awards in the Academy Awards and stuff. It was going up against Shawshank Redemption. That was a crazy year. So
Shawshank should have won that year.
For sure.
I love Pulp Fiction, but Shawshank is like the movie that got me into movies. So.
Yeah, no, what was the one that won?
Forrest Gump.
Listen, Forrest Gump's fine, but Shawshank
hell no.
French. No.
No.
Forrest Gump with a passion. Listen, I think all those movies that were nominated are actually good and stuff, but Ashley's right. It's Shawshank Redemption. Like
no, Shawshank should have won, but never diss Forrest Gump. Never.
Pulp Fiction is a really good one. It's just not on my list. Brian, would you like to discuss that one or move on?
That's not on my list. I think it's very overrated. I think it's a good film. I think it's good. I don't think it's great. I love the performances. I love the writing, but that film to me is easily one of the most overrated films ever, and everyone's going to diss me. Everyone's probably going to dislike this video just because I said Pulp Fiction is... Listen, here's the thing.
Brian, if you want our guests to come back, we can't piss them off like within the first 10 minutes. It's not good.
I'm not mad at her for putting it on her list. At least she didn't say it was her number 1. Yeah, because I feel like if you say, oh, Pulp Fiction's his best, it's a cliche pick. It's so cliche. Pick someone else as his best. That's it.
But I mean, at the same time, if someone put it as their number 1, can you really argue against it? I mean,
I understand if they say it's his best in terms of like maybe their favorite, but it's not his best film. No, it's not his best. It's the one that got him on the map.
Oh, for sure.
But it's not his best.
Yeah, and a little fun fact: Pulp Fiction was distributed by Touchstone, and Disney owns Touchstone, so Pulp Fiction's a Disney movie. Wrap your heads around that. So, Brian, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Reservoir Dogs.
Interesting.
Now, this is his shortest film, I believe. I think it's only like 95 minutes long. I think it's a very short film, but that's the cool thing. Generally, every other film he's made is more than 2 hours long, and this film... Well, I'm always a fan of gangster films, like mob-type films. That's like my favorite genre, so easily this is a film that I love. I love the iconic scene when they're all walking. And by the way, Hooked on a Feeling, the song Hooked on a Feeling, was well known from this before it was in Guardians of the Galaxy. This is where the song made its big debut, in this movie, not Guardians of the Galaxy, just to let you guys know that. And also, Tarantino's in this movie himself, and just to bring this up, I love whenever he makes cameos in all of his films. Love that. That's easily one of my favorite things about every film he's ever done. And this one, is no exception because I just love all the characters. Every character in a way is kind of effed up. Someone in my class did their final exam project on this movie. They're like, Tarantino's my favorite director. This is my favorite Tarantino film. I wanted to do it on this. And then someone also did one on Django Unchained, so that was pretty cool too. A lot of people in my school were starting to like Tarantino, but Reservoir Dogs, I think you said everything you need to say, Chase. Like it's a hell of a great film, and for his first time film, it's pretty badass.
Yeah, I mean, Tarantino is one of those classic stories, just like a Kevin Smith, where he made this movie super low budget by himself. He entered it into a festival, and then Miramax picked it up, and then the rest is history. So, yeah, that's a pretty good pick. My number 4 is just like number 5 in the sense of it's got one. I would argue the best opening to a Tarantino movie ever. My number 4 is Inglourious Basterds. You want to talk about the best opening to one of his movies? It's this one, like because from the moment it starts until the moment that first kind of suspenseful scene ends and stuff, you are just glued to your seat because you're just like, oh my god, I know what's going on, but Christoph Waltz doesn't know what's going on. What's gonna happen? And then shit's gonna get fucked up. So, yeah, Inglourious Basterds is really great. Like I said, that was my first one I ever saw in theaters. I was actually, it was like me and like 10 other people in the theater because I saw it like super early in the day, but I love the craziness of it, and like 'cause it's weird. Like if you watch his newer stuff versus his older stuff, yeah, he's had crazy violence and stuff, but like look at Bastards, Django, and The Hateful Eight again. He's starting to become more and more violent. Like it's crazy, and I mean, because we all know what happens to Hitler in that movie, which is a really cool death scene. But it's so much fun. It's entertaining. Christoph Waltz steals the show. There's a reason why he has the Academy Award for supporting actor. It's just a fun movie. It really is, and that's all I really have to say about it. So, yeah, we actually all have Inglourious Basterds, so we can all move on. So, Ashley, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is Django Unchained. It was the first Tarantino movie that I ever saw. And I saw it in theaters. Yeah, I know. I'm a movie person, but that was the first one of Tarantino that I saw for some weird reason. And then after that, I went and I watched Pulp Fiction, I watched Reservoir Dogs, I watched Kill Bill. But I'm not a Kill Bill person. Spoiler alert, it's not on my list. But yeah, so Django Unchained, it was the first one I ever saw. I saw it in theaters, which was amazing, and I didn't know what to expect. And then from the opening scene of that movie, where Christoph Waltz just comes in and he's such a smooth talker and then he blows the head off that horse, I was like, oh.
Yeah, oh, we're getting into this type of movie.
I was like, whoa, and it just kind of hit me in the weirdest way. And then with the bag scene, his humor is just so fantastic, and I love everything about Django Unchained. Like, especially Christoph Waltz is one of my favorite actors because of Inglourious Basterds and Django Unchained. He's just so good at playing that type of character who's just like likable.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing about Inglourious Basterds. He's like the most charming Nazi you'll ever see on screen. Like, it's weird. It's like, oh, you're a Nazi? Well, you're pretty damn charming. You can take me out. It's okay. You're trying to hit on me? You're a Nazi? That's okay. Take me out. So, yeah, no, Django's a pretty good one, but I guess I'll have to talk about it later. No, that's a really good pick. Brian, would you like to discuss Django, or would you like to move on to your number 3?
Pass.
Oh, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so, Brian, what is your number 3?
All right, this is kind of a cheat, but I couldn't split them up. My number 3 is Kill Bill. I can't separate them. I have to combine them as one film. It's one film. It is one film. You can't split them up. They are one film. That's it. Uma Thurman. This is hands down one of my favorite female characters in film history. The Bride is... This is probably my favorite female character from Tarantino. Like, this is hands down the best character in terms of female that he's ever written. And Uma Thurman played this character brilliantly. The amount of violence in this movie, the martial arts style. I used to take martial arts, so that was a big part of my life. And when I saw this film, I'm like, why couldn't I learn stuff like this? I blame my instructor.
Because you're not Uma Thurman, that's why.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not Uma Thurman. When I watched part 1, I was so speechless. I'm like, why did it have to end here? Why couldn't it just keep on going? I hate that it was split into 2 films, but honestly, seeing it as one film would have been an experience. I know people who've seen the film as one film in the theater, and I'm sure that's like the greatest experience ever. And I want to do that one time if it ever comes here, which it probably won't because New Jersey sucks. But Kill Bill,
Georgia.
Georgia is better than New Jersey.
We didn't get anything.
I don't get anything.
Okay, you two need to hold your knickers for a second because Texas can be pretty fucking brutal sometimes, so I don't want to hear it.
You get all the A24 stuff, Chase. Don't start with me.
I do.
Don't start with me.
Thank you.
No, but Kill Bill is my number 3. And if someone asks me which one do I like more, part 1 or part 2, I think I like part 1 more. I think that's the one I like more.
That's mostly everyone's pick, so well, like as you were talking and stuff, I'm just looking at the list, I'm just like, man, like it's kind of hard to determine which 2 you guys are going to go with. But anyways, my third one, and people are going to probably say, you know what? Hey, listen, it just came out. You got like this Tarantino high going on. True, but I've seen it twice now, and I can tell you right now, it's one of my favorites, and that is The Hateful Eight. Everything, like in my review, I said like this is like the amalgamation of like everything. Like he tackles racism. He has his signature violence. He has this claustrophobic nature. He has really great suspense. Like he has really dark humor. Like, and that's one thing Ashley said is like in his newer stuff, like he has in his old stuff, but in his newer stuff, he's playing a lot more with dark comedic scenes now. So it's kind of cool how The Hateful Eight plays into that because with movies like the Magnificent Seven and Seven Samurai and stuff, you know, they're so heroic and we want to follow these characters. In The Hateful Eight, you fucking hate everyone. However, it's intriguing to watch because it's like a train wreck. You're just like, yeah, I want you to kill that guy, but you suck, so I want you to die too. So it's really cool, and it's just a really cool kind of Clue type of movie with extreme violence. And I'm not gonna lie, I was completely satisfied with everything. And that Samuel L. Jackson, holy shit, that scene. They know what I'm talking about. That fucking scene. So yeah, no, I really enjoy it. And plus, I'm really liking the fact that Tarantino's doing these westerns, like, because Django's great, Hateful Eight's great. So I'll tell you guys my theory for his last 2 films, because he's supposedly only making 10. So so I'll tell you guys afterwards. But yeah, that's my number 3 for sure. So I have a really good feeling that neither one of you put it on your list, correct?
Nope.
Exactly.
List?
Yeah, Brian, just tell me yes. So.
I don't want to tell you.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Brian has put it on there, and I'll guarantee you, Brian probably put it as number 2, but we'll get to that in just a second. So, all right, Ashley, I do this with everyone, and so I'm gonna try to get inside your head, and I'm going to try to guess your last 2. I don't know you, never met you, so.
It is on my list.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it is.
Oh God. Oh man. But you said you like Reservoir Dogs too. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say The Hateful Eight is your number 2. Is it? Oh, look. All right, so since I've never met you or whatever, and it just came out, I would like to hear your little mini review on it.
Well, I saw The Hateful Eight. I saw it on Christmas Day. That was what I chose to do for Christmas. I dragged my family to drive an hour away to go see it in 70mm with my mother and my grandmother.
Whoa. I actually, it's really funny, like, you mentioned that. Like, just real quick, I got tickets for my dad and my brother because I was like, they're probably going to enjoy it. And then, like, when I went home for Christmas and I told my mom and stuff, she's like, well, I'll come. And my aunts were like, we'll come. And my cousins were like, we'll go. And I was like, that's not know what we're going to get ourselves into. Like, this is going to be bonkers. And they're just like, oh, no, it's fine. I swear to everything. Mom, if you're listening, I love you. However, if you looked at my mom's face, because I went to my brother and I was like, do you think she liked it? And he was like, no, probably not. And so we went up to her, we're like, Mom, did you like it? And she's like, yeah, I liked it. But she said it like that kind of like voice, so it's like, oh no. So the Hateful Eight, your second favorite. That's interesting. So yeah. Anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. My mom loved it, and my grandmother loved it actually too. We also saw The Wolf of Wall Street together on Christmas. So we don't really have problems watching things like that because I've been watching.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, we watch Game of Thrones together too.
Okay, that's like a warm up then.
So yeah, we saw it on Christmas Day, and from the beginning, where you could see the screen bobbing up and down because it's actual film, it just made everything just feel so authentic, and I loved it. The score was amazing.
Oh, so good.
It was unbelievable, and it made you feel so unsettled. Like you couldn't sit still. Like you were like shifting around and like looking at people like, oh my God, who did it or something like that. It was just, it put this feeling in you, you know, like, and like I said, I do really love contained stories. So the fact that it was all in one room and that the 70 millimeter made it wide enough to where you could see almost all the characters in a one single shot, and like, I want to see it again to go back and see like what were they doing over on the left side of the screen and like in the background. Like I want to be able to. It has that rewatchability for it.
Oh, for sure.
That and the dialogue, all the characters were so great. I loved the characters. Samuel L. Jackson. I love despicable people in movies. Like, and if something can shock me, I like it. I like shock value, and so I loved Samuel L. Jackson. And it was honestly one of the funniest Tarantino movies. Like, I was dying. It was hilarious, and it was just such a good theater experience. I will say, did y'all both see it in 70 millimeter with the intermission?
Yeah.
I didn't think it needed the intermission. I loved that it was there for the principle of it, but I feel like people today cannot have that. They can't have that break because it gave everybody in that theater an excuse to go on their phones.
Yeah.
And I had I hate phones in movies. I've had bad experiences all year with phones, and it's really ticking me off.
Preach it, sister.
Like, the woman next to me, she pulled out her phone. I said, can you please put your phone up? And she was like, excuse me, you need to pay attention to the movie. I said, I'm trying to. Like, you're sitting right next to me, and I can see your damn phone. So
that's like the biggest backhand I've ever seen. Like, excuse me, get off your phone. Well, why don't you pay attention to me? I'm fucking trying to.
Exactly. But yeah, just short rant on that because people today can't stay off their phones for 2 hours, which is really sad. But anyways, yeah, other than the intermission, which I loved because I loved the way it was able to divide the story with the narration. Did y'all catch who was narrating it?
Tarantino, yep.
Yeah. That's like my favorite cameo of his in his movies because it was just like, okay, the way he's saying this is Tarantino, and I loved everything about it. Like you mentioned, it was claustrophobic. It was just magical. I was so sucked in from beginning to end, even though it was 3 hours long, and it didn't feel like it was 3 hours.
No, it flew by, and just going off of Samuel Jackson's character, the one thing I liked about this movie, without spoiling anything, I've been trying to tiptoe around it, but everyone's a shitty person. Mm-hmm. However, when you start out with Samuel Jackson, he's just a bounty hunter, and you're just like, he seems like an okay guy, and then when you get to the middle of the movie, you wonder why he's a piece of shit. Because the whole time I was sitting there, I was like, he's not that bad of a dude. And as he's like, saying something to someone, I was like, where is it? Oh my God. So it's like one of those moments, it's like, woo, there you go. But I get where you're coming from with the intermission, but I kind of see it as like, the whole movie's like a stage play, and stage plays and stuff have their intermissions and stuff, and it's kind of a love letter to old cinema and stuff. So for me personally, I thought I was okay with the intermission and stuff, just because each chapter felt like a stage play. I felt like we were watching this cabin set on screen, and they were just acting out as if it was a play or whatever. So but yeah, I can see why because the way you're making it sound is like when you watch the first half and you're so sucked in, and then the intermission cuts to it. You're kind of worried that you won't get back into the movie when the second half starts, which is.
Well,
is that what you're kind of saying?
clear, but like I loved the intermission. I loved that it was there for like film fans like us that go to a movie to be immersed and like sucked in. But for a lot of people, they just can't have that break, or they're gonna get on their phones. Like personally, I loved it. I hope when it comes out like on Blu-ray and stuff, like it has it. Like I really hope it does, because I loved it. But in the theater, it bothered me that it gave people the chance to like check out.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just like, it's only a 10-minute, 15-minute intermission. Can you just not just sit? Can you just sit there and like?
I didn't even go to the bathroom because I didn't want to.
I definitely had to. Like, it was amazing. It was like a bunch of like cockroaches that like if you lift up your fridge or whatever, they just all scatter. As soon as the intermission hit, everyone. I'm not even kidding. Everyone got up and just fucking left, and I was like, wow, we all have like the same bladder schedule. This is great. So. No, yeah, the Hateful Eight, it's just, I'm so glad I saw it again, and it's just, I cannot wait to own it. And Ashley's so right. As soon as I got out, I told my brother, I was like, I really hope for the Blu-ray they have the overture, the intermission, everything. I loved it all. So.
Oh, the overture, I loved it. I loved it.
So good. Because it's like you said, the score is really good. It's kind of, it's eerie and unsettling, and it kind of tells you this story that you're going to get into this giant shithole at the end of the movie, and you do. It ends up in a bloody show battle like all of his other movies. But the way the music is done in the overture is very soft, it's very calm. It's like that heroic western, and then like as the overture is playing, it gets into like this under your skin, like oh gross, like get out of here type of deal. Like you felt the dread throughout the overture. You're like, I'm so excited for this. So yeah, I see now you got me talking about it again. I should have put it higher, but. My two, I stand by them. So, Brian, so you're down to your final two. And actually, he didn't tell you this, but I'm always right, and I always guess his 100% every single week. And Brian rolls his eyes like he doesn't understand. All right, you have two left. Now, you don't have Django on there. You don't have the Hateful Eight. I'm going to say the Hateful Eight is your number two as well.
The Hateful Eight is my number two.
Oh, guys, I'm too good. I'm too good at this. So, Brian, what would you like to add to this? Because I saw your review, you saw mine stuff. We can't stop talking about it. It's just so good.
Oh my God, it was my fifth favorite film of 2015. It was that high. Like I want to see this movie again so badly. I mean, this just beautifulness, just beautiful. I can understand where she's talking about the intermission. I totally understand that, but for me, I also had to really go to the bathroom too during it. So like once it said intermission, I just ran out and then I got back as fast as I could because I was worried time was gonna fly by. Because this movie is so fast paced.
Yeah.
I think it's Tarantino's fast paced film. I'm serious. I think it might be the fastest paced film he's ever done. And also, I didn't bring this up in my review or my top 10 video. It feels like Quentin Tarantino's version of 12 Angry Men, except it has a lot of dialogue, one location, except obviously this film is more violent than 12 Angry Men. That's the truth. But yeah, like there's so many monologues, and every monologue just kicks ass. I mean, of course, the monologue before the end of the first intermission, I mean, before the excuse me, the end of the first half of the film is, oh my God, favorite monologue of the entire year. The starting to see pictures, ain't you? Like that is like my jaw dropped so many times during this movie. I laughed a lot. I was probably crying with tears. I think I almost rolled on the floor. I mean, I was with our good friend, me and Chase's good friend Terrence Page, and I saw with my co-host of Nerdy Scores, Matt. And they could tell you how much I was laughing during this movie. I couldn't control myself. There was one point when I was like wiping my eyes because I was crying with tears. Like this movie just it's one of the funniest films of the entire year, and I honestly hope that the film gets nominated for Best Picture. I know Tarantino's not going to get nominated for Best Director. And by the way, the score, like you just said, oh my God, the score is beautiful. I think it's my favorite score of 2015. It's like right there alongside the scores for The Revenant and The Force Awakens. I mean, you said everything I need to say about this film. Like, it's fantastic, and now since it's out, everyone needs to go see this film. Support it. Give it all the money you have. Just go see it, please. Please, just go.
So, a question for you guys: if you had to only pick one, what was your favorite chapter of the movie? I gotta go with either 3 or 5.
Damn. I think 5.
Yeah, 5.
5 explains so much.
Well, and that's the other thing about The Hateful Eight without spoiling anything. There's some bits of it that's non-linear and stuff. It's played out of order, and I thought that was actually really clever and stuff. So, yeah, number 5.
And the cameo in Chapter 5 is pretty badass.
It's so great. Ashley, if you had to pick, what was your favorite chapter throughout the movie? Because for you guys that haven't seen it, there's 6 chapters.
I honestly can't really remember the specific chapters because I've only seen it once and I saw it on Christmas Day. So it's kind of like fuzzy in my brain, but I think it's 5, what you guys are talking about with the flashback.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
was great.
My heart was beating so fast. I was like, oh my gosh, I love that feeling. Or the last chapter, because I love the way this movie ended. I loved it. I thought it was a perfect ending.
It was really funny because I turned to my dad afterwards and I was like, that was really bloody, but it was so sweet. It was so sweet. At the very end, I was like, that's adorable. That was great. So, yeah, it was kind of like one of those. So, yeah, Hateful Eight. We gotta stop talking about it. We gotta move on. But yeah, no, The Hateful Eight. If you guys have not seen it, please check it out. It is in theaters now. My number 2. I gotta go with the other movie that uses the N-word just about as much as The Hateful Eight. I'm going with Django Unchained. Now, I had such a ball with this movie. Not only does Jamie Foxx deliver a really entertaining performance, I love the way you die, boy. It's so great. And I'm not gonna lie, I realized that Jamie Foxx is the title character. However, Leonardo DiCaprio as Calvin Candy was my favorite supporting actor performance of 2012, hands down. I love that role. He was such a dick in that movie, but he played it so well. And Samuel L. Jackson's there once again playing Steven the slave. You know, woohoo! So, yeah, that was fun. I love the way it was shot. It reminded me of like a mix of Tarantino and Grindhouse. I felt like he took his Grindhouse style and his normal style, put it together, and made this like really just fun expletive movie on slavery and stuff. It's so much fun. And one of my favorite shots is not only the last scene of the movie, but also I've seen it a million times, but I don't know. I just really like it when it cuts to the cotton and the blood just like kind of splatters on the cotton. It's like, you know what? That was a coolly lit scene, coolly shot scene. However, there's some deep meaning behind that. That was cool. So. Yeah, that was one of my favorite shots in the entire movie. Guys, it's a fun movie, and I love Leonardo DiCaprio. So, yeah, that is my number 2. So, I've already completed the list because I've already guessed you guys' number 1, and we all have different number 1s. This is pretty cool. So, Ashley, I'm assuming that Reservoir Dogs is your number 1.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so try to convince me as someone that just made you so angry by putting it at number 5. Try to convince me otherwise. And why is that one your favorite Tarantino movie?
Reservoir Dogs is my favorite because not because it is his first one, but just the dialogue in it is so great. Like y'all were talking about the opening scene, like at the diner. It's stuff that like you feel like, yeah, I've had conversations like that with my friends before. Like we talk like that. It made them relatable and at the same time like dangerous.
Yeah.
You start seeing, and it's a heist movie where you don't see the heist, which is genius. I love every character in it because every character has their own special little personality, and like Tim Roth is great in that movie. My favorite part is where I don't want to give it away if somebody hasn't seen Reservoir Dogs, but his main purpose in the film is I love it so much. And it's so claustrophobic, and you don't know what's going to happen. It's so unpredictable. like I'm not one that can really guess the ends of movies a lot anyways, but especially with this movie, I just had no clue how it was going to happen. And it was just, a part of me does wish it was longer, but it was supposed to be this small, contained story. And I just love that. I love everything about Reservoir Dogs. Michael Madsen is great in it. Everything about it. It's so great. And Harvey Keitel, I love him in it too.
Yeah, it's like I'm assuming I'm going to speak on both of your behalfs. I think it was the first movie that definitely introduced me to Steve Buscemi, Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, Michael Madsen. I'm pretty sure like that was the very first one that introduced me to every single one of those guys. So, and most of them returned back for the Hateful Eight, which is kind of cool. So, yeah, that's a really great pick. And like I said, Tarantino's made nothing but greatness, and I will defend the one that everyone shits on in just a minute. But yeah, it's hard to pick like the best one because they're all just so damn good. So, Brian, you're number one. Since you've already picked basically the 4 most popular ones, you either put Django or Pulp Fiction. Now, I'm gonna work my magic right here. All right, just give me like 5 seconds. I'm trying to remember if Brian talked as highly about Django as he did Pulp Fiction. You know what? Brian seems like an old school classy guy, so I think you put Pulp Fiction.
Hell no.
Oh, no.
Hell no. Didn't you hear my rant earlier?
So
Pulp
it is
Fiction?
Django. So it is Django. I was
Yes, motherfucker.
Busting your balls, Brian. Calm down. We're having fun here.
I am curious. What makes you curious?
That's a great line from the movie.
You motherfucker. Adult supervision is required. Which is the truth. Which is the truth when watching this movie.
That is very true. So why is Django your favorite one?
Well, it's hard to admit, but this was also my first Quentin Tarantino film, and I saw it in the theater on Christmas Day with my father. It was probably one of the best movie experiences. That's why I was so excited to see The Hateful Eight, because I was so excited to see another Tarantino film on the big screen. It was pretty exciting. And this one, I mean, I know there are a lot of people that have so much to say about this movie in terms of the controversial stuff, but let's talk about the positives. You brought up Jamie Foxx. He's great. Christoph Waltz is fantastic as Dr. King Schultz. King Schultz, a dentist. The fucking blobbling tooth on the top of his card is fantastic.
Yep.
Kerry Washington was good. I mean, I have a little problem with her. Samuel Jackson was fantastic. He had no eyebrows. The creepiest fucking character, I think, of 2012. And then DiCaprio, my favorite actor working today, killed it here as Calvin Candy. His introduction alone was fantastic. When you see the two black guys fighting, and then he's cheering and stuff when one of them kills each other, it's the funniest thing I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Like DiCaprio in a Quentin Tarantino film already just got me. I remember when I heard that he was casting this, I'm like, oh my god, that is perfection. And I was speechless when I left the theater. I could not begin to tell you just how glued I was to the screen when I was watching this film. But then when it came out on Blu-ray, I bought it. I watched it so many more times. Got the Blu-ray right here. I've been watching it so many times. I tried to rewatch it again. I just didn't get around to watching it again for this episode. But man, I'm telling you, for a 2 hours and 45-minute long film, another film with that runtime came out the same day now is Les Miserables, and that film is incredibly long. Or some good old John Travolta, a Quentin Tarantino pupil called Les Miserables, and man, I'm telling you right now that Django, Dehangled Unchained, the theme song just gets me excited. Django! I love Django Unchained so much. I think was my number 3 of 2012. I think my number 1 of the year was Sirloin's Playbook, and then it was number 2 was Argo, and then Django was number 3. Django Unchained kept going back and forth. I remember when I made that list, it was tough. It was really difficult. But Django Unchained is the film that got me into Tarantino. It was my first Tarantino film in the theater. This is a special experience to me, and that is why Django Unchained, Dehangled Unchained, is my number 1.
So we got Reservoir Dogs, we got Django. But it's really funny because there's one that's missing. When I was 14 years old, I went to, I think it was a Walmart or something. I'm 14, so I couldn't buy R-rated movies. And so I was like, Dad, could you buy this movie for me? I heard great things and stuff. And he was like, sure, why not? I watched it, and that was my first Tarantino movie. And I loved it so much that I really hope for his 10th film, he makes a volume 3. I'm going with Kill Bill. That is my favorite one. It was my first one. It was my first introduction. I was like, who in the hell is this filmmaker? This guy is out of his mind, but so awesome. So it's like what you guys are saying. Kill Bill's got a lot of homages to other films and stuff. It's kind of cool. It's like a collection of like a bunch of movies that Tarantino loves and stuff, and he puts it all in his movie and stuff. It's super violent. I love revenge tales. Those are like some of my guilty pleasure movies. So, there's really nothing more to say. Kill Bill. Oh, yeah. So, that is my number one. This, ladies and gentlemen, has got to be the sexiest, coolest list we've ever done. Because guess what? They're all fantastic. We would recommend every single one of these. And what's really funny about Tarantino, he's only done a handful of movies. And I actually like all of them. And that includes Death Proof. For all those people bitching out there that it's his worst one, how could you say that? The movie is shot like a grindhouse movie. It delivered on all levels. I don't understand like where everyone's beef is coming from. So, Ashley, could you like explain that to me? Like, why do people hate Death Proof so much?
I honestly haven't seen Death Proof. I've never seen it, but
it's pretty good.
Yeah, I need to see it, but I don't know. From what I've heard, it's like more Robert Rodriguez than it is like Quentin Tarantino. So I feel like from Tarantino, when people think of him, they don't really think of Death Proof. They're gonna think about the stuff that we talked about. So I don't know though. I haven't seen the movie.
I'm not gonna lie. Like when I was in theaters, I actually watched the full Grindhouse experience. I watched the double feature with the fake trailers and stuff. It was so much fun. It was Planet Terror first, and then Death Proof afterwards. And at the time, I liked Planet Terror better, but I like both equally now. So, before we get to Brian, Ashley, what are the other Tarantino movies that just barely made your list?
Well, like I said I'm not a Kill Bill person.
Yeah.
But, I liked the movie.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, I don't think that I fully got it. I think I need to see it again. And I feel like this happens a lot with me when I watch movies alone. I don't know. I feel like I get into my head a little bit. I thought it was a little, which is going to sound weird, but I thought it was a little over the top. I didn't like the flipping and I don't know. It kind of irked me about that. But I really do enjoy the bride, the character. I love her. Like, she's good, but I like it. It's not one of those that I feel like every time somebody's like, Quentin Tarantino's best, I'm not like, Kill Bill. But, I understand why everybody likes it so much.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So,
and I haven't seen Volume 2.
You haven't?
No, because I didn't really like the first one, so I haven't watched
it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Brian, what about you? What are the other ones that...
Well, I never saw Death Proof either. That's the only film of his I haven't seen.
Holy shit, I guess I was the only one that saw it.
That's the only one that I never got around to seeing. Like I said about Pulp Fiction, I still like the film very much, but I still think it's a very overrated film. Jackie Brown is good, but it's not, it's easily probably his weakest film that he's ever done. So, Jackie Brown's alright, but it's not, incredible. I think it's very weak in his filmography, but it's still a good film. Like you guys said, he hasn't made a bad film, and that's the special thing about Tarantino. He has yet to make a bad film. He's like Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan has not made a bad film. Yes, I know everyone's going to be like, oh, The Dark Knight Rises is a bad film. No, it's not. It's a great film. Deal with it. I love that film.
Yeah, Tarantino is just one of those guys that, he creates gold. That's all he does. And he said that he only wants to make 10 movies and then retire, so I want to go around the horn just real fast. What do you guys think his 9th and 10th movie are going to be? I personally think his 9th movie is going to be another Western, and I seriously think he's going to go out with a bang for his 10th film and do Kill Bill Volume 3. But that's just speculation. I have no clue, but I'm hoping that's the case. So, Ashley, what about you? What do you think his 9th and 10th movie are going to be?
I have no idea. Honestly, all of his films feel so different to me that I would like to see him do another gangster movie because
Yeah.
I love gangster movies. Like if he brought back maybe some of the characters from Reservoir Dogs, like, and I'm not like a sequel person. I don't want a sequel, but I really like the connections between like Vincent Vega and why can't I think of his name?
Jules?
Or the Vega brothers. I've always heard about them being connected from Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And if there was maybe a Vega brothers movie, that'd be cool. But I have no idea. I just want him to never stop making movies. I don't want there to only be two more, and I in no way do I think that there's only going to be two more. I think he's too good at it. I think he loves it too much, and I think he's going to keep having these ideas. Just like he said he wasn't going to do The Hateful Eight because it got leaked. He ended up doing it anyways because it was so good. So I think if he has more ideas, he's going to keep making movies. I don't think there's only going to be two more, and I really hope not.
So, like, okay, so hypothetically, what if he stopped after 10 movies? Would you, like, I thought he would probably do this, like, in his, like, retiring years, do his last two movies, and then when he's done, commit himself to a TV show. How's that sound?
Oh my God, I would die. If he did something on HBO, I would be so excited.
Right?
Oh my God, I love HBO, but I would love that. Yeah, if he went to TV, I didn't even think about that. I would love that.
Oh, yeah, he's made for TV. He could easily write, like, a 10 or 12 episode show and totally just rock that show specifically for the dialogue. So, Brian, what about you? Like, if you had to guess, if he's only doing two more films, what do you think the ninth one's going to be, and how do you think he's going to go out with a bang?
I don't really want him to do another Western. I want him to do something different. Like, I would love, like Ashley said, I would love him to do another gangster. Well, not just because that's my favorite genre, but it's cool to see him do something different. I honestly hope that he does another film that takes place in present day because, like, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, I think Kill Bill took place in present day too. I don't really remember. See, like, all of his films that now take place in different time periods. It's kind of mind-blowing, but I would love to see him do another, I mean, if he's only doing 10 films, if he ends up doing only 10 films, and if he does Kill Bill Volume 3 as his final film, I don't know if I want another Kill Bill movie because the first two are just so good. Like, I don't know if I would want one more. I don't know. Like, that's really tough. I don't know what his 9th and 10th film would be. I'm sure he's gonna do maybe another Western. I wouldn't be surprised if he does another Western, but maybe do a different genre. Maybe do like a straight up horror movie. Maybe do a sci-fi movie. I would love to see Tarantino tackle sci-fi. I would love to see him do something like that, but I don't think he would do something like that. I mean, after all, or just like an action movie, like a straight up action movie. He did say Mad Max was his favorite film of 2015. So, I mean, do something like that. Don't do something that's just old school. Do something that's newer. Do something that takes place like in the future.
But that is Tarantino's style, though. That's why we like him so much.
I know, but usually it's always cool to see a director do something new.
True. I mean, but, like, listen, if he's done 8 films at this point and they all pretty much have the same, like, flavor as every other movie he's done, and we keep going back, he's going to keep doing it. So, and listen, if he makes another Western, I really hope he keeps it in the same universe because Django and The Hateful Eight take place in the same universe, and Django is during the slave era, and then Hateful Eight is right afterwards. So it'd be kind of cool if, like, he did another one that's, like, a little bit more down the road. I don't know. So, yeah, Tarantino, he's just fucking awesome. If you guys have not seen any of his movies, what in the hell are you doing with your life? So that's all I gotta say to you. Brian, what is next week's show?
Oh my God, I'm so excited for next week's episode. Next week, The Revenant's coming out wide release. We are honoring Leonardo DiCaprio, the greatest actor working today. Period.
That sounds good to me. That list is going to be very interesting. Guess what? Django will be on there. I can tell you that right now.
I hope Django. I don't know my list. This guy's my favorite actor. I can't. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, this just in. Brian's head will explode, and he will not make it to next week because there's so many options.
I won't. And by the way, me and Chase have seen The Revenant. Will that make our list? You'll have to find out.
I don't know.
I hate that you guys have seen The Revenant and that I haven't.
Actually, Actually, if there's any way I could like make you even more mad, is the fact that I saw The Revenant almost a month ago.
A month.
You live in Dallas. I live in New Jersey. I just saw it this past Sunday.
Yeah, but I'm also part of the Critics Association.
Congratulations. Do you want a medal?
Are you angry? Are you jealous?
Of course. You saw The Revenant a month early.
I did. No, actually, I think. Did you like Birdman?
That was my favorite movie last year. Yeah.
Okay. I think you'll like Inarritu's The Revenant. It'll be great. Listen, The Revenant is an experience, and that's all I'll say. And the bear scene that you're hearing about
oh my
is
God.
one of the best scenes in film history.
That was my favorite scene of 2015, even though The Revenant was not my favorite film of 2015.
Yeah.
It has been my most anticipated movie of this year ever since I heard about the movie. Mm-hmm. And now I didn't even get to see it in 2015. I'm gonna have to see it, I guess, the 8th is when it comes out, I think.
Yes, go see it that day.
I don't even know if it's gonna
do that day. Exclude those plans and go see The Revenant. The Revenant is more important.
Can you promise? Can you promise us, like when you see it, like you'll let me or Brian know like what you thought about it? Because I'm telling you, we're hyping it up, and I hope it doesn't disappoint you.
Yeah.
I can't hype it any more than it is hyped in my brain because I'm unbelievably excited for it. It is. I've been saying forever that is my Star Wars. As excited as I was for Star Wars, The Revenant is my Star Wars. Like I'm so excited for it. I might cry when I get in the theater just because I'm so excited.
I cried.
Hey, Brian, I have another idea. She needs to come back because the fact that she's not a Star Wars like mega fan like I am, she's already good in my book. So
hey,
coming back on every single week. So
this is me.
So yeah, with that being said, Ashley, thank you for coming on. So go ahead and plug you and your sister's show one more time.
Okay. Like I said, it's just The Cinema Twins on basically everything except for Twitter. We have Instagram, Facebook, and a YouTube channel where you can go check out. I think we have 4 of our videos up, and they're each an hour in length. Like we have to cut out the songs in between them, so they're around an hour, and they're fun. I hope you like us. Just go check us out and subscribe if you like it. And I'll let everybody know on our social media whenever we start having new episodes. It'll probably be within the month because we're about to go back to school. So.
Okay, yeah, check them out, guys. Because listen, as much as like Brian and I think that we're cool and awesome and smart, no, you listen to Ashley and her sister. They are smart women. Like they know what they're talking about, and they're really entertaining to listen to. So please check them out. All the links will be in the description below. And Brian, what about you? Where can the people find your ass?
You can find me on Twitter at BrianSuds98 and on YouTube at Brian Sutfield.
And guys, if you want to follow my crazy ass, all that stuff is in the link in the description below. I'm not going to tell you to go follow because it's terrible and you will regret it as soon as you do it. So with that being said, I'm Chase Lee, and this has been another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live. We did Quentin Tarantino films. It was fantastic. It was glorious. And we're going to play the outro music right now. So, Brian, say your goodbyes.
All right, peace.
Brian's not going to make it till next week, everyone.
No, I won't.
So much excitement. So much excitement. So, Ashley, once again, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I had fun. This is awesome. My first podcast, so.
Yeah. Well, we just popped your podcast cherry, and you're probably going to regret it tomorrow morning. So you're just like, oh dear God, that was just not good. You're just going to go badmouth us, which is totally fine. I'm okay with that reputation. So we'll see you guys next week for another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live. I'm Chase Lee.
I'm Brian Sutfield.
That's fucking right. Let's play the outro music, which is done by my friend's band, Fervent Roze. Check them out in that link in the description below. Peace, everyone. Oh, Quentin Tarantino, you are a bloody, bloody mess. Lovely. All right, we'll see you guys later.